Imagine your child, screaming, begging, while soldiers hold down their tiny wrist and cut off their hand. Why? Because the rubber vines didn't yield enough sap that day. Because a king in Europe wanted more wealth. Because the world didn't care. Have you ever held a rubber band? Stretched it, snapped it back, barely thinking about where it came from. What if I told you that once every piece of rubber was drenched in blood? That children had their hands cut off because they could not gather enough rubber? That millions died and the world kept silent? This is the story of the Congo, a story of unimaginable brutality hidden beneath the silence of history. Before rubber became the world's obsession, the Congo was alive. Villages lined the banks of the Congo River. Children ran barefoot under the green canopy, their laughter echoing through forests they believed would protect them forever. But the world was hungry for rubber. In the late 1800s, King Leopold II of Belgium looked at a map and saw the Congo a vast green space in Africa, and he wanted it. He promised Europe he would bring civilization and Christianity. He called it a humanitarian mission. It was a lie. What he truly wanted was wealth, and he found it in the wild rubber vines deep within the forest. Leopold's men, known as the Force Public, spread across the Congo demanding rubber from every village. They set impossible quotas, refusing to accept drought, sickness, or the exhaustion of the people as an excuse. If you failed to deliver the rubber, you paid in blood. To prove they had not wasted bullets, soldiers were ordered to bring back severed hands for every bullet used. And so they cut off the hands of the dead. But when quotas were missed, they cut off the hands of the living. Children too small to climb rubber vines quickly enough had their hands severed when their fathers failed to meet the rubber quotas. Mothers were forced to watch. Fathers were forced to choose which child would lose a hand to teach the village a lesson. Imagine that choice. Imagine that silence after the screaming stopped. When the forest swallowed the sound, but the pain stayed, generation after generation. Villages were burned, women raped, men beaten and whipped, with the chikata whip of twisted hippopotamus hide, each strike cutting deep into flesh. Families fled, hiding in the forest, only to be hunted down. Starvation and disease followed, claiming those the bullets and machetes did not. Under Leopold's rule, historians estimate that 10 to 15 million Congolese people died. Villages vanished. Families were torn apart. The forest became a graveyard. All while Leopold decorated his palaces with Congo's stolen wealth, and Europe rode bicycles and cars on rubber tires soaked in blood. A genocide hidden beneath the word civilization. Holocaust driven by rubber. But even darkness cannot hide forever. Missionaries like Alice Seeley Harris took photographs of children with stumps where hands once were, of mothers holding the severed hands of their children. Journalists like Edie Morel and Roger Casement exposed these atrocities, calling it the Congo horror. Under international pressure, Leopold was forced to give up the Congo in 1908, but the damage was already done. The trauma never left. Generational wounds never healed. Even today, the minerals in your phone, the cobalt in your batteries, the gold in your electronics, much of it comes from the Congo, extracted under conditions that still exploit the people, that still kill, that still silence. Why should you care about hands cut off a century ago? Because it is not just history, it is a mirror. It is about greed, about the cost of the things we take for granted. It is about the ease with which the world turns away from suffering when there is profit to be made. It is about the silence of the powerful, the suffering of the powerless, and the price that is still paid. Next time you hold something made of rubber, think of Congo. Next time you hear the word progress, remember those whose blood paid for it. Remember the laughter of children silenced by greed. Remember the hands that were severed for a king's ambition. And let us, in our time, refuse to look away. If this story touched your spirit, let it live on. Share it. Comment what you feel. Let us honor the memory of the children of Congo by refusing to forget them. Subscribe to Freenora Mind for stories that awaken your spirit. Challenge your thinking and heal us by remembering what the world wants us to forget.